The mountain pass was already bleeding light when the first round cracked against the rocks. Snow swirled sideways in violent gusts, cutting across the narrow ridge where the team had taken cover. Below them, the convoy they were assigned to protect was pinned down, trapped between jagged cliffs and an unseen enemy entrenched somewhere beyond visible range. Radios hissed, orders overlapped, and fear, quiet, unspoken fear, settled into every breath. Lieutenant Cole Mercer scanned the ridgeline through his scope, jaw tight. They needed overwatch, precision. Now, a voice behind him had offered, steady and calm, Sergeant Elena Vance. Cole didn't look at her when he muttered, "We're not risking it." Then, under his breath, low enough to feel private, loud enough to wound, he added, "Screw her. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you re-watching from. I love knowing who is listening." Elena heard him. She didn't flinch. Years in uniform had taught her how to swallow insults without choking on them. But this one lingered, not because it was cruel she'd heard worse, but because it came from someone she respected. Cole wasn't reckless, he was cautious, protective, and somewhere in his mind he still believed protecting her meant sidelining her. The gunfire below intensified, sparks kicked from the convoy's armored plating. The enemy shooter had the high ground across the valley, an impossible angle. Whoever it was had patience and training. Each shot was deliberate. Range, Cole demanded, 3,200. 37 meters, the spotter replied, disbelief creeping into his voice. It was beyond standard engagement distance in these conditions. Thin air, crosswinds unpredictable at multiple elevations. A shot like that wasn't just difficult, it bordered on fantasy. Elena stepped closer, her breath steady despite the chaos. "I've trained for this." Cole finally met her eyes. In them, he didn't see ego, he saw calculation. And something else, resolve, but doubt clawed at him. If she missed, they'd lose precious time. If she succeeded, she'd prove something he wasn't sure he was ready to confront. Below, one of the convoy vehicles took a direct hit. A tire shredded. The truck lurched sideways. There was no more time for pride. Cole exhaled sharply. "You've got one shot." Elena didn't respond with a smile or a nod. She simply moved into position, lying prone against the frozen stone. The rifle settled into her shoulder like it belonged there. Around her, the wind howled through the pass, dragging ice crystals across her cheek. 3,237 meters. She closed her eyes briefly, not to pray, to remember long mornings. On isolated ranges, the sting of recoil. The instructors who pushed harder because they thought she wouldn't last. The quiet promise she made to herself to never ask for permission to be capable. She opened her eyes. The valley narrowed through her scope. The distant ridge shimmered in distorted air currents. The enemy shooter was concealed, barely visible between fractured stone outcroppings. A flicker of movement, a shadow shifting against snow. She adjusted for wind drift at multiple intervals, calculated bullet drop, accounted for spin drift over extreme distance. Every factor layered into her mind like pieces of a puzzle. Behind her, Cole watched. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about whether she could do it. He was thinking about what it would mean if she did. The moral weight pressed in. Had he denied her earlier because of tactical caution? Or because of something older, quieter, and harder to admit? Elena inhaled slowly. The world softened. The gunfire below became distant. Even the wind felt momentarily patient. She squeezed, the rifle bucked, sharp and final. The bullet began its long journey across frozen air, carving through invisible currents, negotiating gravity's pull and the mountain's defiance. Seconds stretched below, another enemy round was lining up on the lead vehicle. Then far across the valley a figure jerked backward from the rocks and disappeared from sight. Silence followed. The incoming fire stopped. It took the radio operator 3 full seconds to confirm what everyone already felt. Shooter neutralized. The convoy engines roared back to life. Vehicles moved. The trap team pushed through the pass, safe. Behind the scope, Elena remained still, her pulse finally catching up with her. Cole approached slowly. Snow crunched under his boots. For a moment he searched for the right words and found none worthy. "I was wrong," he said at last. She met his gaze. There was no triumph in her expression, no resentment either. "Next time," she replied quietly. "Don't hesitate." The mountain wind carried her words away, but their weight stayed. As the team descended from the ridge, something unspoken had shifted, not just in Cole, in everyone who had watched doubt fall before discipline. Skill doesn't ask for permission, courage doesn't wait for approval, and sometimes the shot that saves everyone is the one almost denied, because greatness has no gender, only grit. In the Fading light of the mountain passed, the snow continued to fall, soft and indifferent, covering footprints as if reminding them how easily history forgets who almost stood in the way. If this story moved you, tell me, would you have taken the shot? And if you believe courage speaks louder than doubt, subscribe for more unforgettable stories here on Cinematic Whispers.